the two women in the lives of Prophet Ibrahim, we have Saratu and Hajara. Saratu was the first wife of the prophet, of Prophet Ibrahim, and for many years they married, grew old together without having a child. So along the line, when Sarah saw that she was getting old without a child, she allowed the husband marry another wife, who was Hajara. But eventually, at old age, she was like 90 years old, Allah gave her the news of a child. And what did she do? She laughed, at the news that she could still have a child at old age, that Allah could still give her a child at old age. Then she gave birth to this child. Of course she laughed because she's human, thinking that old age, at that age of 90 years, could Allah still allow her, or even still having a child at that age. So Hajara too gave birth to her own child before Saratu gave birth to her child. But eventually Hajara had to move through Allah's prompt that Prophet Ibrahim should take Hajara to the desert, herself and her son Ismail. And this was how Hajara moved to the desert with the son. And eventually, what did we say happened? When Prophet Ibrahim was about to leave Hajara, Hajara asked, "Is this the will of Allah?" And Prophet Ibrahim said, "Yes, this is what Allah wanted." And Hajara accepted, and Prophet Ibrahim left her. And we see the story going on to our having the Zamzam water that we have in the world today. So, what is the story? What is the learnings, the lessons from the lives of these two women? First of all, let me start with Saratu, the mother of Isaac. We saw the human part of her laughing when she got the news of Allah giving her a child. It is not because she doesn't have faith in Allah, but just because of that human heart that, at 90 years, she could still have a child. Then also, another lesson here that we women should learn is that when she saw that she couldn't give birth to a child, what did she do? She allowed the husband marry someone else, who was even a maid of theirs. This shows selflessness. Because we see some women today that there are so many reasons why we should allow our husbands taking another wife. And polygamy is something that the religion permits. So she was selfless, that she could not have a child, she's already old, and she allowed the husband to take up another wife so that the husband can have offspring. So she displayed patience, even in her trial of not having a child up till old age. She was patient in her last trial, and Allah rewarded her eventually by giving her a child. She was selfless. Of course, she had faith too, that her not being able to have a child does not mean the husband too cannot have a child. Then for Hajara, we have a lot of lessons to learn from Hajara. That at that point when the husband took her to the desert with the son, with what quantity of food and water? Little quantity of food and water that they could take at that period. She got into the desert learning that, this is Allah's will. And what did she do? She kept her faith in Allah. She felt that if Allah thinks of her good, that definitely she too will be good. So she displayed this faith in Allah, that Allah brought her here for this, and she was ready to do it, and she knows that Allah will definitely sustain her, that Allah will take her through this, and Allah will make provision for her. So this is thinking good of Allah. So the second lesson here is tawakkul, which is reliance on Allah. She relied on Allah. She had her faith. And this helped her to rely on Allah. That definitely Allah will sustain, Allah will provide all she needs, Allah will take care of her child and herself. And this helped her, this sustained her, relying on Allah, leaving everything for Allah to take care of. And this she did all through the trying period. So another lesson here also is patience. She knew it was a trial from Allah, and she was patient all through. Of course, she knew the food and water they brought would not sustain them. And this was a desert. Nobody in sight, nothing physical in terms of sustenance in sight. And she was patient all through this. And this patience kept her through until she got the succor that she needed. So one other thing also is her taqwa. Her taqwa, which is the foundation of all we have said. Patient all through the trial, thinking good of Allah, and also being able to rely on Allah. It is because of our God consciousness. Allah said He has created us male and female from different tribes. But for us, for Him, the best of us is the one that is most conscious of Him. And Hajara displayed this, that with her taqwa, with her God consciousness, she knew Allah bringing her there would make her be able to, she thought good of Allah, kept her patience, she was able to persevere. She was able to persevere in this adversity. And also the fifth one is that she was able to detach herself from the means of livelihood, all the things she has had while living with her husband. She was moved to the desert. She was able to detach herself from the world. And she was able to portray to Allah, to show the God consciousness in her. She didn't hold on to all the goodies that she was living with. She detached herself from all the worldly things she had to stay with Allah, to be patient in the advice, to be patient in the trial. And Allah sustained her. And eventually when it got to the point where the food finished, that the child started crying, what did she do? She started running in between two mountains. And that has added to a pillar of Islam today, the Hajj rites. That the sa'i is one thing that we do in remembrance of Allah, Hajara's tawakkul, Hajara's fear of Allah, Hajara's portrait of patience. And today we have that water to sustain mankind. So these are the lessons we have from Hajara and Saratu as to the two women in the lives of Prophet Ibrahim. So to our women out there, these are lessons we need to imbibe. The lessons we need to imbibe. We all have our different trials, different ways that Allah is trying us. So we need to imbibe patience, we need to imbibe tawakkul, we need to imbibe thinking good of Allah all the time. That whatever trial we're going through, Allah has a reason for it. Now we're supposed to go through it with steadfastness and come out successful and be a good example to others. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.